A long time subscriber of mine wanted me to speak about this issue. Well, it's not really an issue, but it's kind of I guess, a question. And they asked me, why is it that we have certain alliances? And when I say alliances, I'm talking about like these camps out here, like Young Money, Cash Money, or the movement that Bad Boy had back in the '90s, or right now you got MMG, the whole Rick Ross thing, and for a minute, Rockefeller was hot, then you had G Unit. Why is it that some artists like Lil Wayne or what's another one, Rick Ross, can create successful alliances like that, where all the artists coming out of that camp are doing pretty good numbers? Everybody's not gonna go platinum, but they're doing pretty good numbers and they're successful as a mainstream artist. But you have artists like Jay-Z that is what we would consider, well, a lot of people would consider, in their top five, or one of the best is out there doing it right now when it comes to the ability to rap. A lot of people would put him in their top five. And why is it that people like him always have issues when it comes to artists that they sign? For an example, he had Rock Nation a couple of years ago, and he had J. Cole on there. I forgot the other joker that was on his little label or whatever. But it didn't really pop off. And, if you guys are familiar with J. Cole, when he was on Rock Nation, they didn't really give him the push he deserved. You would think somebody that is signed to a label that has Jay-Z involved with it, they will have all the publicity they need, all the push, all the financial backing behind it. But nobody off Rock Nation really shot off. Also, I think Willow Smith was on Rock Nation too. And you have artists like the subscriber mentioned Game. When Game left G Unit, he tried to start his whole I think it was the Black Wall Street thing, and they didn't really pop off. Nobody out of that camp really even had mediocre success. It pretty much was just Game that was coming out and making consistent records, unless it was an artist that was featured on a mixtape. And the subscriber basically wanted me to give my opinion or my thoughts on why is it that artists that we think would be able to grab certain independent artists, or artists that maybe have a little buzz, you would think that they would have the power and the publicity to make them very successful, but they don't. But then you have other artists that might not have all the respect, but maybe sold records, and they're able to take a collective amount of artists and make them very successful. And basically it comes down to business aspects, and certain artists being able to take their brand and equate it to another artist that might not be that high, but market them in the right way to where people want to buy into that artist just because they're a part of a certain alliance. For an example, if you look at what 50 Cent did with G Unit, he dropped Get Rich or Die Trying, very successful album. I believe he did 11 million on that, which is remarkable, especially within that time frame where record sales were coming to be declined and a lot of people weren't selling. And for you to come out on your first album and do 11 million, that's great. And right after that, he popped off with the G Unit. He came out with Beg for Mercy, where it featured Lloyd Banks. It featured Tony Yayo was on one. I think he was locked up at the time, and he had Young Buck. Now, most artists, because of their selfish ways, or don't want to risk their name and risk the buzz that they have at that moment, they're gonna say, okay, you know what, I got my camp on the side, but let me go release another project, another CD, and then maybe I'll put some of my homies on, or we'll come out and make a collective album together. But what 50 Cent does is at the top of his game, where he was high, where everybody was interested in 50 Cent, everybody wanted interviews, everybody wanted features. He said, you know what, I'm gonna put the guys that are in my camp on right after my most successful album. Okay, I'm not gonna drop my second album. I'm gonna put my the guys that are in my camp out right after my first album. And what that did is that because everybody bought into 50 Cent so much, and he had all these different business ventures going on, people immediately were like, oh, well, we have to check out G-Unit because we see what 50 Cent did alone. So with 50 Cent and the guys that are in his camp, it's got to be something special. And whether it was or not, or whether you like that album, I thought it was a pretty decent album. But whether you like G-Unit or not, everybody gravitated towards that album and towards that camp because of how they bought into 50 Cent, into his brand. And I always talk about, as an artist, always think of yourself as a brand. Don't just think of yourself as an artist. Think about, your fan base. Think about certain business aspects you can get into because of your fan base. If you're on the, clean cut, college dropout tip that Kanye was on, you can get into certain business aspect that cater to those group of fans and cater to that fan base. If you're on the street aspect, you can go into certain things and venture into different business deals that cater to that aspect. And you have to always think of yourself as a brand, and that's why I think 50 Cent is one of the best businessmen to really maneuver himself through the game, because he really knew how to market himself and at the same time make the right move to put his camp on before he released his second album. And when we equate that to Jay-Z, I think, in my opinion, is, lazy when it comes to really pushing his artists. I think with the stature he has and the buzz and the legacy that he's created for himself, he can get on more features. He can go out there and do more interviews, put out more of a consistent amount of music with his artists that are on his label or in his camp, and really push his artists out there. Because like I've said before, for you guys that are not really savvy with the business aspect of the entertainment industry, people buy into certain artists nowadays. It's not about just strictly off of talent. We have artists out here that don't have any talent whatsoever, but they might have their charisma. They might have, certain lingos that everybody catches on to, or maybe they're just that person that is on everybody's record. Whether they're spitting garbage or not, whether they can't sing or not, they're putting in consistent work. So people are buying into them. Or maybe they have a criminal record out right now. Maybe they're into some trouble. Maybe they're the trending topic on Twitter. All that plays into album sales. All that plays into the audience taking a liking to you as an artist, not just from your music standpoint, but as you as a person. And when people buy into you and buy into what you're selling, not just the music aspect of it, but what you're selling to the public as a person, when people buy into that, that's how you sell records. That's how you can put other people on and say, hey, I got this artist over here, check them out, or let me go put a verse on, this artist that's in my camp. Let me get on their first single. That's how you market artists out. That's how you keep your name out there, along with putting out consistent music. Because that's another thing. That's another reason why you have camps like MMG or Young Money staying out there, being the trending topic or always in your face, because they put out consistent music. Whether it's a mixtape every 6 months to a year, they have consistent music they're pumping out to the fans, so they're always in the listener's mind. Where somebody like Jay-Z, been in the game for 10 plus years, got buku money, have the status, I don't think he is as hungry as, maybe Lil Wayne or Rick Ross was when they had their camps and was trying to build their brand up. I don't think he has that hunger and really the business tactics or the business motivation to really market his artists out. Now, when it comes to side things that benefit him, like, Barney's and all the other, stuff he's into, he's motivated towards it because that's him. That's something for him. That's building up Jay-Z. But when it comes to marketing people outside of Jay-Z, he's not that good at it. So, that's basically my, me breaking down how some groups buzz and some don't. It all goes back to business. It's all about, the game of chess and knowing when to move your pawns, knowing when to move the queen, knowing when to put the king into effect. It's all about how you play the game. But that's my opinion on it. Well, not my opinion, but also my truth to it. You guys give me your feedback if you want. I hope I answered your question to that subscriber. You gotta be peaceful out there. I'm out.